Welcome back to Gotham Trends. Today we're diving into something I think's on a lot of people's minds lately. Will robots steal our jobs? Yeah, it can feel a little bit like we're heading into some sci-fi thriller,
Yeah,
but I think the reality is a lot more complicated than that.
absolutely.
You guys sent in some really interesting articles and notes,
Yeah.
especially this one. Robots taking jobs. A reality or an overblown fear? Should be a fascinating deep dive.
Absolutely. And, it's important to keep in mind this isn't some far-off future.
Right.
It's happening now.
It's happening now.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Atlas robot from Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
This thing is incredible.
It is.
Sorting packages, navigating tricky spaces,
Yeah.
even doing construction tasks.
It's amazing.
It's like a superhero.
Atlas is a really impressive example of how far robotics has come. But we also have to remember automation is already changing so many industries.
It really is.
Like, take Amazon's fulfillment centers. Those Kiva robots zipping around.
Right.
They've made things so much more efficient.
Right.
But there's a downside. What happens to the workers' jobs?
That's the big question, isn't it? Job displacement. The World Economic Forum predicts something like 85 million jobs lost globally by 2025.
Yeah.
Because of automation and AI.
That's a lot. It is a significant number. But that same report also points out a potential upside. 97 million new jobs.
Wait, so more jobs created than lost. How does that work?
It comes down to understanding both sides of automation. Robots can definitely take over some jobs,
Right.
but at the same time, they create new ones.
Oh,
Think about who designs, builds, maintains those robots.
yeah.
You need whole new industries popping up around AI development, robotics, data analysis, skills we didn't even know we needed a few years ago.
So it's not just robots taking jobs, it's a whole reshuffling of what kind of jobs are out there.
Exactly.
Which leads to a big question. Are we actually preparing people for this?
Right. We need big reskilling programs, especially for those in the industries that are going to be most affected.
So let's get specific. Which industries are we talking about? Truck drivers are probably watching those self-driving trucks with a bit of worry.
Yeah, transportation and logistics are definitely up there, but
Dang.
it goes way beyond that.
Really?
Manufacturing, warehousing, retail, even customer service are seeing huge changes.
It's everywhere.
Think self-checkouts, chatbots, automated systems, managing inventory.
Wow. It makes you think about your own job. Could a robot be doing parts of it someday? Everyone listening should be asking themselves that.
Yeah, it's a good question to consider. But it's not always about jobs disappearing completely.
Right.
A lot of jobs will just change. They'll evolve to incorporate automation, and that can make things more efficient.
Yeah.
This whole idea of cobotics, robots and humans working together, that's becoming more and more common.
Okay, so not robots versus humans, but how can we work together?
Exactly.
Are there jobs where robots would actually be a good thing?
Oh, absolutely. Think about disaster relief. Robots could be amazing in dangerous situations. Search and rescue after an earthquake, dealing with hazardous materials.
Makes sense.
They can go places we can't and do things that would be way too risky for humans.
What about healthcare? I've read about robots assisting with surgery,
Yeah.
which could free up doctors to do other things.
Exactly. Robots can do more routine tasks in hospitals, like delivering meds, sterilizing equipment.
Yeah.
That frees up nurses and doctors for direct patient care,
Right.
potentially even reducing burnout.
So maybe robots aren't the enemy we sometimes make them out to be. But this feels like a giant experiment.
It is.
What about the people whose jobs do get replaced?
Right.
Is it ethical to prioritize efficiency over people's livelihoods?
That's a huge question.
It is.
And there are no easy answers. But
Oh.
there are a few potential solutions being explored.
Like what?
One idea that's gaining some traction is a robot tax.
A robot tax. How would that work?
So companies would pay a tax for each robot they use,
Okay.
and that money could then be used to fund retraining for workers who lose their jobs.
Interesting. Or strengthen social safety nets, or even contribute to a universal basic income.
That's a pretty big idea. Wouldn't that discourage companies from adopting new technology?
It's a valid concern. The key is finding that balance,
Right.
encouraging progress, but making sure everyone benefits.
So this isn't just about the technology itself.
No,
It's about the decisions we make.
absolutely.
Our education systems, government policies, even corporate responsibility.
All of those things will shape how this plays out.
This has been fascinating.
It has.
We've gone from robots taking over the world to robots maybe making it a better place.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little more optimistic about the possibilities.
Good.
But we've just scratched the surface here.
We have?
Don't worry, Gotham Trends listeners. We'll be right back in part 2 to explore even more about the impact of robots on our lives and jobs. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Gotham Trends.
Ready to jump back into this robot revolution?
Excellent. So we've been focusing on the economic side of things, jobs lost, new jobs created.
Right. But there's another aspect we need to think about. The psychological impact on workers.
Well, that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah, imagine working next to a robot that's faster, more accurate, never gets tired.
Right.
Studies have shown that can make people feel inadequate, insecure, even resentful.
Makes sense. It's like you're constantly being compared to this super efficient machine.
Exactly. And it can lead to more stress and anxiety, too.
Yeah, if you're always worried about a robot taking your job, that's going to mess with your mental well-being.
It really highlights the need for companies to think about the human side of things.
Yeah.
It's not just about adding robots to the mix.
Right.
It's about making sure humans and robots can work together in a healthy way.
Okay, but how do we actually do that?
Yeah.
How do we make sure robots make our work lives better, not worse?
One key is to focus on areas where robots can complement human skills, not replace them.
Okay.
For example, instead of having a robot do an entire task,
Right.
maybe just handles the repetitive or physically demanding parts. That frees up humans for the more creative, strategic stuff.
I like that approach, playing to the strengths of both.
Exactly. Finding that balance where robots help us, not replace us.
Kind of like that robotics idea we talked about.
Right. Humans and robots as a team.
Yeah.
That could be a real win-win.
How so?
You combine human creativity, problem-solving, emotional intelligence
Right.
with the robot's precision, speed, and stamina.
Yeah.
You end up with a really powerful workforce.
So instead of seeing robots as a threat,
Yeah.
we should see them as a tool.
Exactly.
A tool that can help us do great things.
It's about changing our perspective.
Right.
Not robots versus humans, but robots as collaborators.
Yeah.
Embracing the possibilities, but also recognizing the challenges.
And making smart choices about the future we want.
Absolutely, a future where technology works for us.
That's a great way to put it. I think this is a good place to transition to the role of government in all of this.
Right. Policymakers have a big part to play.
They do.
We'll talk about that and more when we come back for part 3.
Gotham Trends listeners, stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive. We'll be right back. Back to Gotham Trends for the final part of our Robot Revolution deep dive.
It's been a fascinating journey so far.
Yeah, we've talked about jobs, new roles, the psychological impact on workers,
Right.
even the possibilities of robotics.
Mm-hmm.
But as we wrap things up, I think we have to address the role of government and policy in all of this.
Absolutely. We can't just leave it up to companies to figure out.
Right.
We need guidance from policymakers to make sure this benefits everyone.
So what does that look like? What kind of policies should governments be thinking about?
Well, for starters, investing in education and retraining,
Right.
big time.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to give people the skills they need for these future jobs.
It's not just about STEM, though, right?
It's not just STEM. It's critical thinking, problem solving, being able to adapt.
Yeah.
Those skills are going to be so important in a world that's changing so fast.
We talked about this earlier, but our education systems need a major upgrade.
Yeah, they need to be more flexible, more responsive to what's happening in the real world.
Beyond education, what else can governments do to handle this automation wave?
Making sure workers who lose their jobs to robots have a fair transition.
Right.
That could mean financial support, like unemployment benefits,
Okay.
or help with retraining. Some people are even talking about a universal basic income.
A universal basic income.
That's a big idea.
It is. It would require a complete rethink of our social safety net.
Right.
But as automation keeps changing things, these are the kinds of conversations we need to be having.
Another big area for government is setting ethical guidelines for robots.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to make sure robots are used responsibly.
Yeah.
Think about data privacy, algorithmic bias, potential misuse of this technology.
So many things to consider.
We need clear rules for ethical innovation.
It feels like we're stepping into the unknown.
We are.
And the choices we make now will have huge consequences. Yeah. But that's what makes this so important. We have a chance to shape the future we want.
Right.
A future where robots help us create a better society.
That's a great way to think about it. Gotham Trends listeners, we hope this deep dive has given you a new perspective on the whole robot situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about fearing robots.
No.
It's about using this opportunity to rethink how we live and work.
It's a future we create together.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. Keep exploring this topic and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
What stood out to you? How do you see the future unfolding? Share your thoughts and don't forget to subscribe to Gotham Trends for more deep dives into the trends shaping our world. Till next time, stay curious.